If the Three Gorges Dam collapses, the annual water flow of the Yellow River would be concentrated in that area. It would become the Yellow River for a whole year. Descending at a speed of 147 meters per second, this water could reach Nanjing within a day. In a day, it might even destroy Nanjing, affecting approximately 600 million people along the Yangtze River, which contributes more than half of China's GDP. This strategic and populous area is vulnerable. The complete destruction would undoubtedly lead to a catastrophic event. Currently, both China and the world are highly concerned about the safety of the Three Gorges Dam. If anyone questioned the safety of the Three Gorges Dam before, China would vehemently deny any issues, insisting that there was no problem. However, they now acknowledge that the water level has exceeded the flood control line by 2 meters. They are urging quick discharge of water. But it's a dilemma since both upstream and downstream areas are already flooded. If the water from the Three Gorges Dam is released, the situation downstream could worsen. If they block the water, the flooding continues. The most challenging aspect of the Three Gorges Dam is that both upstream and downstream areas are flooded, and the dam bears the pressure of flooding from both directions. Some analysts have assessed that if the Three Gorges Dam were to have a catastrophic failure, it would wash away directly. Nanjing would be devastated, and the impact could extend to Shanghai. In short, when discussing the safety of the Three Gorges Dam, China always asserted that there were no issues. However, now with both upstream and downstream areas flooded simultaneously, the situation has changed. Downstream, they claim that the water level is comparable to the second highest flood in 1998. So, the water level downstream is already very high. Upstream, heavy rainfall continues, making it impossible for the Three Gorges Dam to discharge water. Thus, we find ourselves in a situation where the flood control line is exceeded by 2 meters. Looking at the photo, Xi Jinping appears very concerned. Currently, his most significant concern is not the US-China trade war or the Beijing pandemic but the issue with the Three Gorges Dam. Is the Three Gorges Dam really that dangerous? Currently, approximately 24 provinces in China are inundated. As mentioned before, the Three Gorges Dam is most afraid of simultaneous flooding upstream and downstream. Now, this is precisely the situation, simultaneous flooding both upstream and downstream. Downstream, they claim it is the second highest flood since 1998. So, the water level downstream is already very high. Upstream, heavy rainfall continues, preventing the Three Gorges Dam from discharging water. Thus, we find ourselves in a situation where the flood control line is exceeded by 2 meters. We see in this photo from CCTV Finance that the current water level is close to 147 meters, exceeding the flood control limit by 2 meters. In other words, there is a real risk of the dam breaking. As mentioned earlier, the primary reason for exceeding the flood control limit is to discharge water quickly. If not released, there is danger to the dam itself. Now, everyone wonders what would happen if the dam broke. It would be a human disaster. If the Three Gorges Dam collapses, the impact would be more devastating than several atomic bombs. The dam holds nearly 39.3 billion cubic meters of water, equivalent to the annual flow of the Yellow River in that area. Once the dam collapses, the water will rush downstream at a speed of 100 kilometers per hour. The first thing it would hit is the Xi'an Dam below the Three Gorges Dam. Xi'an Dam, one of the largest in mainland China, would most likely be washed away. Then, the water would continue downstream until it reaches Xi'an City. Xi'an City is the largest city below the Three Gorges Dam. They say that after a few hours, Xi'an City will be entirely submerged. Xi'an City is currently above the water level, right? After 5 hours, Xi'an City will be submerged below 20 meters, meaning the entire city. You won't be able to see the sky at 20 meters deep. So, Xi'an City will be almost entirely submerged, and then it continues downstream. From Sanduping to Wuhan, the Jianghan Plain extends to Anhui and then to Nanjing. They say that within a day, this water could reach Nanjing. In a day, Nanjing would be destroyed. Moreover, after some time, it would reach Shanghai. This is a colossal disaster. Currently, there are approximately 600 million people living along the Yangtze River, and if this area is affected, which contributes more than half of China's GDP, the consequences would be catastrophic. If everything is destroyed, what do you think will happen to mainland China? It would be a fatal disaster. Therefore, Xi Jinping would truly lose sleep over it. We mentioned earlier about simultaneous flooding upstream and downstream, and now we'll show you real images. This is the upper reaches of the Yangtze River in Sichuan and Chongqing. You can see the landslides due to heavy rainfall. Now, let's look at the upper reaches. It's continuously raining heavily for several days, and the water is fast and ferocious. They say that the instant water inflow is a historical record. CCTV reports this themselves, and you can see the water continuously coming in. This is the upper reaches of the Yangtze River. My goodness, the entire bridge is gone. The Yangtze River, which we used to associate with being the land of abundance in Sichuan, is now facing such conditions. The problem is that Sichuan is experiencing rare heavy rainfall in 100 years. The entire Sichuan, land of abundance, is submerged. You know the water continues to flow rapidly and fiercely. They say the instantaneous water inflow is a historical record. Now, the water keeps coming in. This is the upper reaches of the Yangtze River. Now, we've seen the upstream, and you can see the downstream. Downstream includes, the current situation in the downstream areas, including Shanghai, where the entire area has collapsed. This, in mainland China, involves Shanxi, Sichuan, and the surrounding areas, and this kind of thing frequently happens due to the heavy water content. When the water content is too high, the entire mountain collapses, leading to mudslides. Indeed, it's a collapse and disintegration of the soil. You know that ultimately, all of this flows into the Three Gorges Dam. Alright, we just talked about the upstream of the Three Gorges Dam, so now the water level will continue to rise. You can see this is the current view. It has not yet reached the dam body of the Three Gorges Dam. In the future, it will continue to rise. Let's talk about the downstream. The downstream area is the same. The downstream, including the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze, including the Three Gorges, is submerged. This is the downstream area, so they dare not discharge water. Downstream is already submerged, and if they discharge more water, it will worsen the situation. Downstream, people are telling the Three Gorges Dam on the Yangtze River, you absolutely cannot release floodwaters. If you release them, we'll be done for. However, if the Three Gorges Dam really cannot release floodwaters, it will accumulate even greater pressure. Just now, it was mentioned that a total of 148 rivers in southern China have exceeded the warning lines. Yes, so I mentioned earlier about the situation along the Yangtze River this year. Let's not talk about the Three Gorges Dam. Downstream along the Yangtze River, this year is the largest flood since 1998. If you have a deep impression, almost the entire city of Wuhan was submerged in water during the 1998 flood. Yes, now, currently, downstream is in such a situation. The Three Gorges Dam has not released floodwaters yet. If it really cannot release floodwaters, you can imagine the immense pressure it is facing. The Three Gorges Dam project is one of the most controversial proposals in the history of China, especially since the establishment of the People's Republic of China. Recently, there has been a national security law in Hong Kong, right? Only one person abstained, right? You know, back in 1992, when the National People's Congress voted on this project, the approval rate was only 66%. 1/3 of the people either abstained or voted against it. Do you dare to oppose the central government? 6%, this is the lowest approval rate in history. So, because of the immense controversy at the time, after its completion, no one dared to go there. In 1997, Jiang Zemin and Li Peng attended and had a ribbon-cutting ceremony. It was just a ribbon-cutting ceremony, right? Yes. But in 2009, when it was completed, Hu Jintao did not go. They invited him, saying, "Hey, we finally completed the project, please come," the general secretary. However, he refused to go. Until 1997, the last person to go was in 2018, Xi Jinping. When he visited, it was the first time in 21 years that a general secretary visited the site. The Three Gorges Dam is the most important project in China. In powerful China, it is a result that has been widely reported. For 21 years, no high-ranking Communist Party member has dared to visit the site. Even now, is it Jiang Zemin who decided to do it, or is it Li Peng who decided to do it? Are they still passing the buck to each other? Everyone knows that the dam is quite dangerous. In fact, when Xi Jinping visited the site, there was speculation that he wanted to blow it up. Is it true or not? He said something like, "In the future, along the Yangtze River, we need to emphasize ecological conservation for development." So many people said, "Are you going to blow it up?" Baojia, why would you want to blow it up? In fact, his considerations are completely correct. In recent years, if you've seen Sichuan in the past, it rarely flooded. Look at it now, it has become like this, the water is too much. In addition, another town in Sichuan had an earthquake immediately after the completion of the dam. Another ecological change occurred, and besides that, Sichuan, with the Three Gorges Dam, has become a target for various countries. After the dam was built, in Taiwan, in the event of a conflict between the two sides, the first target to hit is the Three Gorges Dam. Also, in the recent conflict between China and India, they fired missiles at each other, and their first target was also the Three Gorges Dam. So, during this period, the Three Gorges Dam has truly become the largest time bomb in mainland China. Is there anyone daring to acknowledge this account of the Three Gorges Dam now? During the interception of the Three Gorges Dam, they had to intercept the flow first before starting the construction. After the interception, Jiang Zemin and Li Peng all visited. At that time, Jiang Zemin was the General Secretary and Li Peng was the Premier of the State Council. After that, for a whole 21 years, no high-ranking officials in China dared to go. Nobody dared to acknowledge this account, quite simply because after the interception, they began the construction, right? After the construction, the completion, and the opening ceremony with water and electricity took place during the time of Hu Jintao and Wen Jiabao, right? Logically speaking, since China always touted the Three Gorges Dam as the most remarkable hydraulic project, Hu Jintao, who has a degree in hydraulic engineering, should have gone to visit after the construction and commissioning. But he didn't dare. Hu Jintao is an expert in hydraulic engineering, and Wen Jiabao is an expert in geology. Both are the individuals in China who understand the Three Gorges Dam the most. Yet, they didn't dare to go. They didn't dare to acknowledge it. Because if they participated in the ribbon-cutting ceremony, and if the Three Gorges Dam collapsed in the next 2 years, whose responsibility would it be? Of course, it would be Hu Jintao and Jiang Zemin's. When Xi Jinping visited the Three Gorges Dam in 2018, he didn't say much. After taking a look around, he specifically emphasized the need to restore the ecology of the Yangtze River. People later generally interpreted it as a request to repair the Three Gorges Dam. Why is the Three Gorges Dam so frightening? It's quite simple. As you mentioned earlier, they forcibly blasted a hole in the mountain during the construction on the dam. They blasted a hole in the mountain, and between mountains, there might be movement, right? They used chains to secure it. Let's talk about the Chain Gorge. Before the Three Gorges Dam was built, the Chain Gorge was a natural barrier belonging to a landslide terrain. Throughout recorded history, the Chain Gorge experienced 21 landslides, including 2 in modern times, in 1921 and 1982. Both landslides caused the Yangtze River to stop flowing. So, imagine if the Chain Gorge slides down to the Yangtze River when the Three Gorges Dam is in place, the dam will be completely destroyed, right? Therefore, before China built the Three Gorges Dam, they had to address the Chain Gorge issue first, which they started solving in 1989. Because the Chain Gorge could landslide, as you mentioned, they used 173 chains longer than steel cables to pierce the chain gorge, one by one, and then surrounded the chain gorge with these chains. So, it wasn't until 1997 that the construction began. After that, in October 1997, they dared to intercept the Three Gorges Dam. There is an order to it. They knew the chain gorge had to be stable first before they could proceed with the Three Gorges Dam. The result is that the chain gorge is now found to be sliding again. It is already sliding. The key point is that it has already tilted 6 centimeters. When will it reach 20 centimeters? When it reaches 20 centimeters, according to engineering calculations, the entire chain gorge will collapse. Now it's raining upstream and downstream of the Yangtze River, right? It's raining heavily, right? What happens to the landslide body when there's heavy rainfall? It increases the gravitational force on the landslide. So, the chain gorge is currently the first concern for everyone. The second concern is the gravity of the concrete. We've talked about the Three Gorges Dam many times. The Three Gorges is not a single dam, it consists of 113 dam blocks. It's pieced together, like you mentioned, and its dam blocks are not square, they are inverted triangles, like pyramids, which are stable. However, the bottom is wide, and the top is stable. But the problem is, compared to the world-famous dams, its bottom is very, very narrow. Quite narrow. It's narrow. Its height is 185 meters, but its dam base width is only 130 meters. Compared to a dam for a reservoir, it's slightly higher, around 221 meters, but it has a dam base width of 202 meters. Which one is stable? Of course, it's the one with over 200 meters. The dam base width of the 202-meter reservoir dam, right? At that time, people were suspecting if they were accelerating construction, hoping to put the Three Gorges Dam into operation as soon as possible. So, they didn't need to build such a large dam body. It's quite simple, and then there's the concrete gravity.